Hi, everybody. I am Barb Steinberg, teen life coach for girls, parent coach, and speaker on teen girl issues. Today, I am answering a question from one of our Facebook community members, Shelly, and she wrote in and she asked me to speak about, she said that she has a 14-year-old daughter and a 12-year-old daughter, and that there is some sibling rivalry going on, that her older daughter is sort of in a passive aggressive way unkind to her younger daughter, and that she feels like it's affecting her younger daughter negatively and affecting her self-esteem. So sibling rivalry is kind of like so many topics related to children and tweens and teens. It's a big topic, but I'm just going to kind of touch on some highlights today. And we're going to talk about kind of why sibling rivalry exists, like what is the purpose of it, and then we'll talk about what you can do as a parent to hopefully diminish some of it. It's not going to go away completely. I think that's an unrealistic goal. Once you hear about why it exists, you'll understand. And the reason why I always talk about the why behind the behavior, because it helps us to understand. When we understand, like, why is this happening, then it helps us to, I think, be a little bit less resistant to it and a little bit less exasperated by it and angry and frustrated that it's happening, because we have an understanding of why it even is here and why it's sometimes necessary and needed. So I know that it's exhausting. I know this because of the parents that I coach, not because I'm a parent of more than one child. I only have one child, but I do listen to all of my friends that have more than one child, and I kind of thank my lucky stars some days that I only had one. So it's tough. It's exhausting. I know that you're thinking so often, why can't they get along? Why can't they just shut their mouths sometimes and stop being so mean to each other? They're arguing over so many different things, whether it's fairness, right? That's a big one. That's just not fair. You're letting her have more of this, or you're letting her go first, or, whether it's TV shows or time on iPhones, or clothes that were bought, or who's using the car when. There's just so many things, right? There's a lot of comparing and competition going on between siblings, whether it's about athleticism or academics. And that competition, we'll talk about why that is. So I always like to say that all behavior is purposeful, right? So we're not walking around making decisions and doing things because it has no end or no importance to us. It has importance to us. It's purposeful. There's a purpose behind everything that we do, whether we know it or not. So in Shelly's case, I would be asking myself, why is my 14-year-old treating her sister like this? What is she seeking? What is she needing? What is she looking for? And this is her negative way, her negative behavior is her way of trying to get what it is that she wants. So if I know what it is that she wants, then I have a better chance of helping her to get what she wants through a different set of behaviors rather than this negative one of being mean to her sister. And I might also ask, given this current sibling rivalry, what is my 12-year-old needing because of this situation? Since she's getting a lot of negative feedback from her sister, what might she be needing from me as well? So let's talk for a second about why sibling rivalry even exists and what is the purpose of it for our kids. So one is to establish power. All human beings want power, right? Nobody wants to feel powerless. So we seek power in whatever ways we get it. And with siblings, it's kind of an easier way to get power than with the adults in our lives, if I'm a tween or a teen, right? There's also a need to compete for dominance when you are a sibling, right? You want to feel, that kind of connects with the power, to feel superior, to have, especially if you're an older child, you have had the biggest loss, right? There was a moment where you were alone in the family and you had all of these resources at your fingertips, and now this other kid came along and now you have to share everything. So seeking dominance is one. Competing for parental attention and support. So competing for household resources. Parents' attention is one of the main resources, right, that our kids are seeking. And they're seeking the resources of privileges and goods, actual, physical items, right, like the car or the TV or the phone and so on. So they're striving for attention. And remember when they were little, and they were like little toddlers, and they would do crazy, throw a temper tantrum, and parts of their behavior when they were little was to get your attention. Remember when they were like, Mommy, look at me, watch me on the swings, watch me on the slide. They were seeking attention. Well, now this is their different way of seeking attention. If they're running around throwing F-bombs around, or, now it's not you're a poopy head. They've got, a different colorful language to share with their siblings to get your attention. And it works, usually. They're also trying to establish differences. This is a big one. Every human being wants to be unique in their own way. They want to feel special. They want to feel important. They want to feel seen and heard. And especially during adolescence, they want to feel different and unique and special. And one of the ways they do this is through that sibling rivalry, is putting that sibling down and separating from that sibling and saying, I'm different, I'm better. Expressing emotion is another big one. So imagine being a tween or a teen and you've just come from your long, hard day of school with everybody demanding so much from you. And now you come home, it's this safe place. You have this family adversary in your sibling, and you can let all these emotions out in the day. And it's kind of a safe way to do it. It's not kind or necessarily productive in terms of your relationships, but it's productive in expressing emotion. So that's one. And recreational value is another. Family life can be dull. It can be rote. And when they're feeling a little bored, sparking up some conflict makes them feel, it kind of gets them going a little bit. It's something to do. And last one, seeking attention from their sibling. There are times that they're seeking attention from their sibling as well, not just you, and engaging in conflict certainly allows for that. So using the example of a younger sibling imitating their older sibling, and you know how much older siblings hate that. And the younger sister, let's say, who's imitating her older sister, it's her way of basically saying, I'm equal to you. Remember power, remember dominance, and wanting to be important. And then the older sister might say, stop copying me. And then she might put her sister down. And that's her way of establishing differentiation and dominance. So now that we kind of understand what's behind some of the behavior, it does help us to understand what they're needing so we can help them get it. All right, so unless children are more than 8 to 10 years in age, there will be sibling rivalry between them. I know I had an older brother, 3 years older, and a younger sister, 8 years younger. And my sister and I didn't have much sibling rivalry. My brother and I, definitely. So the more similar the siblings, like same sex or very close in age or similar interests, then you're probably going to see more rivalry there, because they're really trying even harder for that dominance and differentiation. Okay, so let's get into what parents can do. That's what we want to know. How can we lessen some of this conflict in our households? Okay, so first thing, map out your ground rules and stick to them. So you and your spouse or your partner might need to come up with these together without the kids. So you might, for example, let's say you have a video console, an Xbox or something like that, and the kids are constantly fighting over that. Then you might want to set a schedule up about who gets to use it when. It's a schedule, it's written, it's placed someplace that everybody can see it. We don't really need to argue about that anymore because it's very clear cut and it's very fair. Everybody gets the same amount of time on the Xbox. Depending on their age, there might be some differentiation with that. And then, for example, you know how they might be fighting over who gets to sit in the front seat or who gets to choose what radio station they play in the car. So you might have a schedule for that. Monday you get to sit in the front, Tuesday your sister does, and so on. So it's something that makes it clear and everybody understands it and knows it, so there's less reason to fight about it because it's already known. Secondly, modeling ground rules of how we experience or express conflict in our family. So let's say you want less excessive conflict or less arguing, less yelling. One of the ways to encourage that and create that in your family is for you to role model it, right? So if I don't want my kids to be yelling at one another, then I need to do my best to not yell at my spouse, partner, or my kids. Now, I know that we're not perfect. We obviously have moments where we say and do things that we wish that we didn't. But in general, we're trying to be role models and demonstrate in our family when we're angry, when we're upset or frustrated or have had a rough day, this is how we express our emotions. So developing a family philosophy around that, the appropriate ways of responding to conflict. So maybe it's, we don't talk over each other. We let someone finish and we listen and then we respond. Or we take deep breaths before we open our mouth and say something when we're feeling a negative emotion. When we get really angry and we're afraid we're going to say something that we'll regret, we leave the room and create space. So kind of ground rules. How do we respond when we have big emotions and we're super angry? And that can be something that you guys can come together on and create together in a family meeting, and everybody can participate and share their ground rules. An example this one family I read about, they established their kind of family philosophy was they noticed that their kids, their teenagers were putting each other down when it came to like classes that they were taking, grades that they got, or whether they were winning or losing their games, their athletic games. And so this family decided, our philosophy is we're not going to put each other down in that way. What we're going to try and do is we're going to support each other. And that means that everybody comes to each other's games to support each other. Everybody comes to award ceremony. Everybody goes to the family dinner when we're celebrating that you got on honor roll. And that it's really setting the tone of this is who we are in this family. This is how we show love and support to one another. And it doesn't mean that sibling rivalry and fighting is going to completely stop, but it really is setting the tone as to what you expect, what your expectations are in this family, and how we treat each other in this family. Another example is, let's say that you're overhearing, your 14-year-old speaking super unkind and rude to her younger sister. So you might say, in the moment that you feel like she can hear it, so it's not a moment that she's busy in her reptilian brain having huge emotions, it's when she's calm and she can hear you, you might say, I overheard you in the other room talking to your sister, and I noticed that it was really in an unkind tone and you were being kind of rude to her. And, that's just not who you are. I know who you are, and you are very kind and you have a big heart. And in our family, we speak kindly to one another. So I'm hopeful that you will do that also with your sister, and I might leave it at that. So I'm just telling her, this is who you are, and this is what I expect, and I leave it at that. It doesn't need to be some big monologue or, you need to tell me what you're going to do differently next time. She just needs to hear that and let it kind of sink in. I think it's really important to share with our kids, this is who I know you to be. We raise the bar, and they eventually meet that expectation. This one I love, what parents can do. This third idea is offering individual attention. We know that a big part of this arguing and the sibling rivalry is seeking attention from parents. So if we know that, then that tells us, okay, I need to give this kid more of my attention. And how can I do that? Is that setting dates on the calendar that we're going to have one-on-one time, just me and Melanie, and then, next week I'm going to have alone time with Amy, and so on. And then also, I know, everybody's got busy schedules. I realize that. So maybe it's just squeezing it in and daily errands. I need to go to the grocery store. Will you please come with me? I would love it if you would come, and you can help me. You can pick out something that you want for the house in terms of groceries and food, or I need to go get gas. I would love it if you would come with me. I feel like I haven't seen you all day, and I love spending time with you. I'd love to be with you. So I'm couching it in a really positive way. Like, I miss you. I love spending time with you, even though it's kind of a boring errand, but it's still one-on-one time. And that even in those 5 minutes filling up gas, you can ask, like, tell me about your day. Scale of 1 to 10. How great was your day today? Or I wouldn't say how great was your day. I'd say scale of 1 to 10. Tell me about your day. What number would you give it? Or I remember last week, you were really struggling in history. How's that going? Or I remember last week you were telling me that there was a fight between your two friends, Ella and Emma. what's going on with them this week. So it's a moment to touch base and give that individual attention. And I think also with attention, when I think about Shelley's 12-year-old daughter, who she said her self-esteem was being affected by the sibling rivalry and the arguing, that giving praise. So any way, shape, or form, no matter how small, that we can say out loud, thank you for being who you are. I think you're so funny. You crack me up. I noticed that you picked up your plate and put in the dishwasher. Thank you so much. Or you're so sweet to spend time with the family cat, petting our cat for 30 minutes. Whatever it is, no matter how small, that you can give her some praise, then there's less of a need to compete, right? I don't need to compete with my sister as much if I really am getting consistent love and affection and attention from my mom and my dad, sharing who they know me to be. So let's talk about the engaging. So let's say the argument's going on. How do you engage with this? How do you help this conflict? So holding both kids accountable for an argument or a conflict is important. It really does take two to have a conflict. It takes two to engage. It's a cooperative effort. It takes one to end it. It takes one person to not respond verbally or with their body language. It takes one person to walk away and go to another room, and then there's nothing to fight against. So when you're engaging, you want to avoid favoritism and comparison. They're super sensitive to that, and they have got very keen radar to favoritism and comparison. So when they do that, when they feel you siding with the younger sibling because she's younger and she can't defend herself, and stop being mean to your sister, you're older, you should know better, which isn't a great thing to say. You've created teams. I'm on a team with the younger sibling and you're alone on your team. And that's not what we want, because somebody loses always on that, right? So don't expect the older one in the sibling rivalry to be more mature, because that's just isn't always the case. And when it comes to the older sibling, they really have lost the most in terms of status. They're the more vulnerable one, as we mentioned, right? Because they've lost more, because they had more to lose. They had everything in the beginning. So what you want to do is narrate the situation. So let's say that one daughter borrowed the clothes of another daughter and didn't ask. So you want to narrate that and say, okay, I get it. So Paige, you're really angry that Samantha took your jeans without asking and wore them without your permission. And Samantha, you really love your sister's jeans because you think she has great taste in clothes and you really wanted to wear them. Okay, so what do you guys want to do about this so that it doesn't happen again and you're not angry and upset with one another? So I'm asking them to problem solve. They only have so many problem solving skills based on their age, right? So they might not have the best ideas, or they might. You might want to have an idea in your back pocket to offer as well, or a few of them, and make sure that, again, that they're favorable for both girls. So that what you're really trying to do is hand this over as much as you can to them to learn how to problem solve eventually without you. But in the beginning, they're going to need you, again, because they don't really have the conflict resolution skills yet that you do. But they're going to with the more practice that we offer them. So time to tap out. Here's our last tip for parents. There are moments when you have had enough. You can't take another word, another argument, you're over it. And it's time to know I'm tapping out. And this is a really good life skill to teach our girls as well, or our kids really. So know when you're done and express your frustration without harshness. So you don't want to express it with, oh my God, I'm so sick of you two. You're getting on my last nerve. You're so annoying. Shut your mouths. I can't take it. Probably not the best thing to say. So you might want to say something along the lines of, wow, this is not working. Everybody's pretty upset right now. I'm exhausted by it. I'm guessing you're exhausted by it. This would be a great time for us to just go our separate ways, take a breather, and when everybody's calmed down, we can figure out how to come up with a solution to make this better. Let that land and begin to walk away. Hopefully they'll begin to walk away into separate corners of the house. So there's no, I wish I could offer you a magic wand so that your kids give each other hugs and there are rainbows and unicorns in your home every day, all day. But having been a sibling, that's not really a realistic goal. What we're seeking, though, is for them to learn conflict resolution and to learn how to get their needs met in a more healthy, productive way. And when we can really, and they're not going to always know what their needs are behind these behaviors. So that's where we come in to figure that out for them and to help them get it. So I hope this is giving you some ideas on, what to do to lessen some of the arguing in your home and hopefully have a more enjoyable home sometimes. If you like this, I would love it if you could click the little like button or share it with your friends or family members that you think it might be able to help. There's more free videos on my YouTube channel, Barb Steinberg, LMSW. I'd love it if you would subscribe. And I also have a monthly newsletter that comes out with a lot of tips and tools and blogs and videos and more free stuff for you to help you have a really awesome relationship with your girls and to help to raise them to be happy, healthy, confident young women and grown women. So thank you guys for watching and for listening, and I will talk to you soon. See you next Wednesday on our next Facebook Live. Bye.